Okay, welcome to Garden of the Spirit class, studying apples from the orchard for the second time, beginning after Pesach 2014. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts, the center of the universe, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth Bas Moshe Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contain selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. Okay. Hey, hi, Rudy. So
Hello.
now we're on page 921.
Oh, Schnitzelmacher.
Oh, how was your trip to Florida?
It's good. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, 920. Yeah, 1.
921, yeah.
That is right. All right, here we go. I always forget how to do this. Share. Okay. The Torah. The Torah instructs us to remember the day we left Egypt every day of our life. We've been to other exiles, the major ones being Babylon, Media, and Greece.
That
But the
should be
one we are required to remember every day is Egypt. After the first Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, we first went to Babylon, then Media, Media, which includes Persia and the story of Purim. We then returned to Israel, and that should say, even though the story of Purim happened in Paras, which seems like the province next to Media, that's how we refer to it. We then returned to Israel and built the second Beis Hamikdash shortly after. Building, a few decades later, Alexander conquered Israel, and Israel was under the rule of Greece for much of the second Beis Hamikdash, until the story of Hanukkah, at least, maybe a little after. Israel was adversely affected by the political upheaval after Alexander died, and this is why we refer to the exiles of Babylon, Media, and Greece.
media,
Alan, please begin.
media is spelled E-E-A.
Media is spelled E-A?
M-E-D-E-A.
Okay, you looked it up?
I knew that before.
Otherwise, it'd be Medea.
Okay. Good. Thanks, Rudy.
You're
Go
welcome.
ahead, Alan.
For the purpose of exile, offer the Passover sacrifice to Hashem, your Hashem, in order that you remember the day you went out of the land of Egypt, of the days of all the days of your life. The reason we are enjoined to remember the exodus from Egypt, as opposed to all the other exiles, Babylonia, Media, and Greece, is as follows. There is a fourth exile, Rome, but we are still considered to be in its exile. So there is no supposition that we should remember our redemption from it yet. And the book spells it IA too.
They're wrong also. Okay. Number 2. When Yosef accused his brothers of spying on Egypt, he told them, "You have come to see where the land is vulnerable or exposed." The words he used are ervas haaretz. This word usually refers to the private parts of the body, or in rabbinic lexicon, to a forbidden relationship such as incest. One Chumash translates "do not commit incest." Another says calls it to cover nakedness, to uncover nakedness. So this is the meaning of the word erva. These are different uses of the word erva. In any case, Yosef used this word to refer to a part of Egypt where Egypt would be exposed to attack. Right? He said to his brothers, "You guys are spies, and you've come to see where the land is vulnerable." However, it's commonly seen as a comment on Egypt. Egypt is the most depraved and immoral of all countries in matters concerning relationships. You know, we always talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, but in Egypt, this was the culture. Go ahead, Alan.
It is known that Mitzrayim is more defiled than any of the other countries outside the land of Israel, and is therefore known as the nakedness of the world. The term nakedness, erva, in the Torah is used to refer to the sexual organs, and uncovering the nakedness of someone is a euphemism for engaging in sexual relations with that person. The idiom nakedness of the land, as used in the Torah, means the exposed, vulnerable part of a land through which it can be conquered, that is, entered and defiled by an invading army. Despite its general sense, the term is tellingly used only with reference to Mitzrayim. In rabbinic literature, this idiom is associated specifically with Mitzrayim, which is seen as the most degenerate and debased civilization in the world with regard to sexual lasciviousness and lechery.
Now, thank you. Hashem told Yaakov, do not be afraid to go to Egypt, for it is there that I will make you into a great nation. I will go to Egypt with you, and I will also bring you back again. From here we see that the Shekhinah went to exile in Egypt with us. Hashem said, I will go to Egypt with you. The Zohar says that the Egyptians used various spells from the powers of impurity that made it impossible for any slave to escape. Go ahead.
The divine presence went into exile with the Jews when they went to Mitzrayim, as is written, I will descend with you into Mitzrayim. It is known what is written in the Zohar, namely that the Egyptians made use of various types of spells and magic, which they accessed by manipulating the powers of impurity in order to enslave the Jews so severely that even a single slave could not escape from there.
All right. Number 4. What is the primary reason for exile of the Shekhinah? When Adam sinned, he caused evil to mix with good, right? It was a tree of knowledge, good and bad. The souls which were in the realm of holiness fell into Klippa. They are powerless to extricate themselves from Klippa. Prophet Yeshaya writes, and we say this in our davening, B'chol tzarasam lo tzar. In all their troubles, he is troubled. From this pasuk, we know that the Shekhinah goes to exile with the Jewish people and into the Klippa. And there, it's able to gather the souls and bring them out of Klippa. Page 922.
It is also known what we have explained concerning the meaning of the exile of the divine presence, namely that the ultimate reason for this divine exile is because Adam's primordial sin mixed good and evil together and caused all the souls from the realm of holiness to fall into the realm of evil. They remain powerless to extricate themselves from it, except with the help of Hashem's mercy. He feels their pain inasmuch as his presence goes with the Jewish people into its exile in the realm of evil. When it enters with them into their place, it gathers these souls from there. The divine presence, the Shekhinah, follows the Jewish people into exile in order to extricate it from there.
Okay, 5. After the flood, the Torah lists 70 nations that emerged from Noah's descendants. From then, we refer to all other nations as the 70 nations. No, we refer to all the nations. As the 70 nations, whether they are listed there or not. There are 70 klippas that correspond to the 70 nations. It's only by Jewish people going to exile to each of the 70 nations that the Shekhinah accompanies them and reclaims the souls that were captured by klippa when Adam ate from the tree of knowledge. When all the souls will be brought back to holiness, there will be no more death, and it will be the era of Mashiach. Go ahead, Alan.
There are 70 aspects of evil corresponding to the 70 Gentile nations, and the Jews must be exiled through all of them in order to gather all the souls from their number that fell into each particular form of evil. When they will finish gathering all the souls from amongst the 70 nations, it will be the time when feet touch feet mentioned in the Zohar. And then the verse, death will be swallowed up forever, will be fulfilled. Each nation or civilization or culture represents a different perversion of the truth of the Torah, either partial or complete. The Jews, the bearers of the divine message, must traverse all these perversions in order to rectify them in the light of the truth they possess in the form of the Torah. This rectification process may occur directly, as the Jews are honored as the bearers of divine light to a culture that willingly looks to them for guidance, or, as has usually been the case, indirectly as ideas and concepts from the Torah leak into the host culture via its contact with the Jews. As will be explained further on, the feet are the lowest part of the body of the man of evil and the man of holiness. That is the lowest, most depraved, and therefore most powerful forms of evil, and the lowest and weakest manifestations of holiness. The exile of the Jewish people will continue until the lowest meets the lowest. That is, until the weakest elements of holiness overcome the strongest elements of evil.
Okay, and that's just a term that he quotes, feet touch feet. Now, the prophet, and of course, death will be swallowed up forever, Bilam Avos Lanesach, a line from 25th chapter of Yeshaya. The prophet Zechariah writes, whoa, flee from the land of the north, the word of Hashem. For I have scattered you like the four directions of the heavens, the word of Hashem. Israel needed to go into exile around the globe, so the Shekhinah would go with them and bring back the souls trapped by Klippa. Now, all Jews do not need to go to each land. If even one Jew goes there, it is considered as if all the Jews went there. Go ahead.
This is the mystical meaning of the verse. For as the four directions of heaven I have spread you out, says Hashem. The Jewish people had to go into exile in all four directions and through all 70 nations. But it is not necessary for all of them to be exiled together to each and every nation. Rather, as long as one single Jew is exiled to a specific nation, it is considered as if all Jews participated in that exile.
Okay. Now, when Adam sinned, he caused damage to all stages of creation. They were all affected by Klippa. And when Hashem created Adam, he took dirt from around the world, so that wherever a person dies, he can be buried there, and the body will decompose. Similarly, Adam's sin caused souls to be trapped in places around the world. In the words of Zechariah, the four directions of the heavens. Avigail, we'd like to continue, page 923.
Adam caused a blemish in all the worlds through his sin, and therefore, when the souls he comprised fell into the realm of evil, they were spread through the world in all four directions, since the dirt from which he was made was gathered from all four directions, as is known. When God created Adam, he gathered the earth he used to form him from all four parts of the earth, so that wherever one of his descendants would die, the earth would accept the corpse and decompose it. Since Adam was formed out of the dirt from all over the world, when he fell, all aspects of him fell, and his soul fragmented into pieces, subsouls, that scattered into all aspects of reality. All Jewish souls are derived from Adam's soul. Each of the 70 angelic princes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to go on. Number 8. I zoned out there. Each of the 70 nations is under the care of an archangel. They comprise the entirety of Klippa. Each angel took a share of the souls that fell into Klippa. Okay, go ahead.
Each of the 70 angelic princes of the 70 nations of the world, who collectively constitute the realm of evil in its entirety, absorbed its respective aspect of Adam's fragmented soul. Each of the 70 archetypal nations listed in Bereshit 10, from which all the other nations of the world derive, is presided over in heaven by its prince, which is the spiritual essence of that nation, culture, civilization.
Okay, those souls are not capable of freeing themselves from the grasp of Klippa. It is only the power of mitzvahs and prayers of Jewish people that can separate them and remove them from the grasp of Klippa. The Jewish people engaged in mitzvahs and prayers elevate the souls. When the connection to Hashem is based on the people's initiative as opposed to Hashem's initiative, it is known as feminine waters. That's like a parenthetical line, as will be in the next paragraph as well. Go ahead.
The souls present in each aspect of exile are not capable of extricating themselves. Only commandments performed by the Jewish people and the prayers they recite possess the power to separate them from the realm of evil and remove them from there, elevating them in the form of feminine waters, as is known. All this occurs through the Jewish people's prayers.
And 10, when righteous people die, they first enter Gehenna, the place of Klippa. This is not for punishment, because Gehenna is cooled for them, and they do not suffer. Rather, the righteous person gathers souls in Gehenna and brings them out with him. This is initiative from below, feminine waters, and Hashem purifies them, which is called masculine waters, or initiative from above. These souls are then born into bodies in our physical world.
A similar thing is accomplished when righteous people die. For every single righteous person must enter purgatory, Gehinnom, which is the abode of evil, as is known. He does not enter it in order to be punished, God forbid. For on the contrary, when he enters purgatory, it is cooled off for his sake, so that it doesn't affect him. Rather, the reason he must enter purgatory is in order to gather souls held captive by the forces of evil present there and elevate them together with him. They enter the higher realms as feminine waters and are rectified by the masculine waters, and then they can enter this world in corporeal bodies like the rest of the Jewish souls. Feminine and masculine waters are Kabbalistic terms for initiative taken by created beings and the divine response to it, respectively.
Okay. Now, in this way, righteous people rescue souls both during their lives and after they die. During their lives, when they perform, as we said, doing mitzvahs and saying tefillos, saying prayers. Then they rescue these souls. After they die, they make a stop in Gehenna and they pull people out. Go ahead.
Thus the righteous, both in life and in death, extricate souls that have gone into exile amongst the nations.
And 12. In Koheles it says, there is a time when one man rules another to his detriment. Some commentaries say it means to the detriment of the oppressor, and others say it means to the detriment of the victim, or the dominator and the dominatee. The Arizal explains, according to the Arizal's explanation, Klippa rules the souls it has captured, and at some point the souls are freed, and the Klippa is the worse off for having lost those souls.
This is the mystical meaning of the verse. There is a time in which man rules man to his detriment, i.e., that the man of evil rules the man of holiness, that is, the souls. All the souls of holiness constitute a complete body of holiness termed the man of holiness. The same applies to the forces of evil.
Continue.
This is to the detriment of the man of evil, for the rule of evil over the Jewish people during their exile is to evil's detriment, as through this the holy souls are redeemed from within it. Thus, their rule over them eventually harms them.
Okay, it's not clear to me why I understand why losing the souls harms them, but it seems to say like they're worse off if they wouldn't have had the souls in the first place. I don't see that. Maybe it just means that they lose that when they lose the souls, then they lose, and we'll understand from the next paragraph. 13. Everything needs divine energy to exist. Klippa can only survive if it intercepts holiness. In fact, the Zohar teaches that the feminine aspect of Klippa is called Maves, death, and the masculine aspect of Klippa is called Salmaves, the shadow of death, like Gam Kielech Begate Salmaves. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. This is not explained over here, by the way, this sentence. The Talmud says on the verse, the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing at all. This refers to the wicked, who even in their lifetimes are called dead. Wicked people are considered dead. Their sins cause their godly soul to depart, leaving them without holiness and spiritual sustenance. How do we get there? So the Klippa needs the holiness to exist. It has to latch on to something of holiness so that it could survive. And without it, it is considered, and without it, it has no life force. And it can be called dead or considered dark. Now, I think it doesn't say it here, but it has to have some bit of life force in order to exist. So there has to be there something.
Is that why the wicked torment the good?
Why?
He's asking that why.
They need their souls?
They need their souls?
Yeah.
I don't see that here. I see that they latch onto them. They trap them. How exactly what that means? Well, let's go to the exiles. They're tormenting, they take the Jews into exile, then they torment them. Can they bring them into exile without tormenting them? Probably. Like for example, the US. You have free countries. You have Jewish people live here in relative freedom and safety. It doesn't have to come through torment. The fact is, we went into exile. The Romans tormented us. The Babylonians tormented us. The Persians, not necessarily. The Greeks,
Yeah, but
part of it, but not always.
but exile in and of itself semantically is not a walk in the park. It's torment. Exile means like you're not grounded, you're rudderless, you've got problems, you've got people chasing after you. It's not a good thing.
What
Right.
is
Not like the
mean
Gan
in our
Gan Eden.
context?
Gan Eden is a wonderful place.
What does exile mean in our context?
Exile means
Exile.
context probably means a rectification.
I'm coming back.
Probably means a rectification. Probably means a rectification, otherwise there'd be no exile, right?
Oh, here we are. Well, that's what we're learning over here. That's the reason for the exile, but that's not what it means. Exile means that we're away from the land of Israel. We're exiled from our land.
Yeah, I understand that, but if we hadn't sinned, we'd be there, right?
Yes, yes, but just the fact that we're away from Israel doesn't have to come with, with what we usually think of as torment. Being out of Israel without being or not having the Beis Hamikdash in Israel is torment in itself.
All right.
Now, but I'm going to read to you what we just read on a week ago Sunday on Tisha B'Av. Okay. In the Mincha, during Mincha, we say, "Console, Lord our God, those who mourn for Zion, those who mourn for Jerusalem, and the city that is in mourning and in ruins, despised and desolate, mourning because she is bereft of her children, ruined of her dwellings, despised in the loss of her glory, desolate without inhabitants. She sits with her head covered in shame like a barren woman who never gave birth. Legions have devoured her, idolaters have possessed her. They threw your people Israel to the sword and wantonly murdered the pious ones of the Most High." And so on. Now, if you've been to Israel, and I think most of us have, no, and I was there a couple months, 3 months ago. 3 months ago, the city is not in ruins. It's not desolate. It is not bereft of her children. It's not ruined of her dwellings. It's not, there isn't a loss of glory, and it says desolate without inhabitants. You can make the argument that Jerusalem is thriving. Israel's thriving and Jerusalem is thriving. There's people, there's hustle and bustle. You go to certain places, it's packed. I was at the Kotel Friday night. I've never seen the Kotel packed like that. Usually there's a lot of people, and I'll leave my kids and I'll wander around and go see who I know. This time I couldn't leave them. It was really, really crowded. I wouldn't have been able to keep an eye on them from a distance, and I wouldn't have been able to, and it would have been difficult navigating my way, squeezing my way through the crowd, which is a wonderful thing. However, in spite of that, and I think I had some few friends there that I missed. I didn't see them. We read the Nachem prayer on Tisha B'Av. Not only that, but the people who are at the Kotel read the Nachem prayer on Tisha B'Av. People living in Yerushalayim are reading the Nachem prayer because we don't have the Beis Hamikdash and everything that goes along with that. So the Jewish people are scattered around the world, even though, let's say, 50% or so are living in Israel. It is still considered exile. And I would venture to say that for the Jews who live in Israel, and maybe they've lived there their whole lives, they might be the seventh generation or eighth generation. They are the Jewish people are in Israel because we don't have all or most of the Jewish people with the Beis Hamikdash. So therefore, just the fact that we're here is enough. I think I don't think that necessarily the harassment has to be a part of the equation.
Okay. All right, I'll buy that. Sounds good.
Thank you, thank you. We are in. Oh, I finished my notes.
Yeah.
924, if you ask, Abigail.
If you ask, what do they care? Know that evil is a dead thing and possesses no life force of its own whatsoever. This is why the feminine aspect of evil is called death, and the male aspect the shadow of death, as taught in the Zohar. Moreover, the wicked are considered dead even while alive, for their holy soul derived from the living God had departed from them due to their sins. It is known that the soul descends into the body via the Sephira of Yesod, which is called the living God, Kel Hai. But when they sin, a soul of evil called death, or the shadow of death, enters them, and that is why they are called dead even while alive.
Okay, so this is the this is how Klippa is able to, we used to say, to intercept holiness and derive nourishment from there. It is a leech. I mean, there are so many metaphors or terms for this. Interception, a fumble. It leaches on, it latches on. The term that's commonly used in Kabbalah or Hasidus is to suck, or to, yeah, I think to suck nourishment from holiness. And this is why it says why the Yetzer Hara wants to entice us to sin, because that way it is able to get a hold on holiness, and holiness is called life. And this way the Klippa is able to intercept the holiness and get to Klippa. Give me a minute. And this is why, especially why they're looking for things in holiness. Okay, go ahead. 925, therefore.
Therefore, the only desire of evil and the evil inclination is to pursue man and entice him to sin for their benefit, for they grab hold of the holy soul called life and derive sustenance from it, and through it they live. The souls held captive by evil function exactly like a soul inside a body, enlivening it. Therefore, all the forces of evil pursue holiness and cling to anything that possesses any holiness. For it is known that whatever clings to holiness clings to life, and whatever separates itself from holiness separates itself from life.
I should say one of the greatest holiness we have is in the holy relationship between a husband and wife. As we've spoken many times, that this, first of all, it creates life, it procreates. So we emulate God because only God can create. It also is symbolic of the relationship of how the relationship between of how divine energy flows into the world. As we've said many times, it becomes through interaction between Zeir Anpin, the male spheres, and Nukva, the female sphere. And so this is the greatest holiness we have, and this too is one of the greatest areas of depravity and immorality, is in relationships between male and female. So the Klippa is looking to see is going after for the jugular of holiness. Klippa is going for where it can get the most bang for its buck in holiness. That's what we had here. Okay, continue 925. It is now
It is now not surprising to you that the forces of evil pursue people so much in order to entice them to sin and anger their creator, they must do so for their own benefit in order to survive and live.
Continue.
With this, you can understand why a wicked person is punished when he sins, and how much he deserves to be punished, and that he defiles holiness and profanes it, enlivens evil, and kills the forces of holiness by causing it to enter death.
Now one more.
With this, you can also understand how Adam, through his sin, caused all the exiles the Jewish people will have suffered until the Messiah comes.
So three things. So now we have a pretty good picture. Adam sinned. The souls fell into Klippa or trapped by Klippa, and through Klippa needs this to exist, to survive. Through our prayers, through our doing mitzvahs, we elevate the souls, we free them, we untrap them, and reclaim them for holiness.